I hope you agree that this was quite a fun challenge. I certainly have had fun with it myself. So let's take a look at our karaoke data that we have. We start just knowing when each song is begun. And by the end of it, we're hoping to be able to know which customer sung each song and what session number they were a part of. So we've got a little bit of prep work to do to combine these two data sets from our inputs. So we start off by thinking about numbering each of the sessions. So in order to do that, we need to know the order of these songs. So we want to assign a row number. So we're going to use the row number calculation, analytical calculation. If I just zoom in on that, then we can order by our date in ascending order, and we can assign a row number to that. That's nice and simple. We get the numbers 1 to 988, sorry. And that is just going to give us our row order. Now when we're looking to calculate the difference between our song on our current row and the previous song on the row above it, we kind of can't do that at the moment because we don't have any multi-row functionality yet in Tableau Prep. So how we're going to do that is we're going to add 1 to our row number so that we can bring the previous line song down onto our row as well. So let me show you how you do that. So we're just creating a calculation where we add 1 to the row number, create a column called row number plus 1, and we're just going to keep the date field in there and rename it to previous song end. Once we've done that, we are going to join those two steps together, and we're going to join the row number from our row number step here and the row number plus 1 from our row plus 1 step here. And we're going to make that a left join so that nothing gets excluded. So that means that our row number 1, because there's no previous song, we don't exclude that. That's why we're making a left join, for example. Whereas now for our song number 2, we have information about the previous song in there, which is super duper useful for us. And now it means that we can go ahead and use our date diff calculation to calculate the number of minutes between the previous song ending and our current song starting. And this is what we're going to use in order to calculate when our new sessions begin. So basically the time between songs, if that's greater than or equal to 60 minutes, we are going to say that that is a new session. So we literally just write a calculation that says that for us. It just gives us a 1 if it's a new session or a 0 otherwise. If I just show you that as well, then you can see that we have our time between songs if it's greater than or equal to 60, or if it's null, as in the case of our first row, because obviously that's got to be a new session, right? Then we give it a 1, otherwise a 0. And now we're going to use the logic of a running total calculation so that we can get each of these sessions numbered, so we can turn sort of the zeros into grouping them up into the same calculation. So how do we do that in Tableau Prep? So first of all, I'm going to use an extra clean step to only keep the relevant fields here. So my row number field is how I'm going to join my data sets back together. And my new session field, that's what I'm going to need to add together to make that running total. So if I do a join there, I'm going to zoom in on that. I'm just making sure that the row number is greater than or equal to the row number from my remove field step, which is here. And you can see that creates this nice triangular shape. So we can see how in our original data set, so before we had that clean set where we removed all the additional fields, we've got this nice kind of pyramid effect going on where it's smaller at the top and bigger at the bottom. And that's exactly what we want to see when we're doing a running total, because we want to group by this row number here, and we want to aggregate based on the number of rows that are there. So basically for our lower numbers, we don't want to be adding loads of rows because we are expecting to have a smaller number coming out of it. And once we get down to the bottom, we expect to have quite a bigger number because we have more rows. And that's kind of the way that we need to think about it and how that will work. So then when I come to doing an aggregate step, I'm grouping it by my row number, date, artist, and song. Basically, these fields all come from this step here. but then my session number is coming from that field is actually initially called, new session -1. So that means it's coming from this step here. And when I sum that, I get the running total of my new session numbers. So hopefully that's clear, and hopefully you're getting the same results. Now we want for each of our sessions to number the song order, and we do this using a rank calculation. So we're literally just saying group by our session number and in ascending order rank our dates. And that gives us, each of our songs restarting, we know what order the songs were sung in. So that's really useful for us too. Now's the time when we're going to start thinking about bringing in our customer information. So our customers enter before their session begins, naturally. So we only need to keep information from our current field about what time each session begins. So we group by our session number and we do our minimum start time. And if we join those together in such a way that our session start time is greater than or equal to the entry time, so our session begins after the customer has entered, then this is going to, again, explode our data a bit. We're going to go and have quite a lot of rows as a result of this join. But what we're going to do is we're going to then aggregate this back so that we only have the maximum entry time for each of our customers in each of these instances. So our aggregate step here is grouping on the session number, taking the maximum entry time, and then just joining that back on so that we know which customers were involved in which sessions. So in order for this to work, we need to make sure we're joining not only on the session number, but also on the entry time coming back into this. And then now we know which customers are associated with which sessions, we can just go ahead and join those back onto our song order step here before we were only interested in the session start time. And now in our final data set, we just have information about the session, our customer ID, the song order, the date that each song was started to play. And I think we've managed to get quite a lot of information out of what looked like two data sets that wouldn't join together. So I think that's pretty cool and showcased a lot of Prep's unique features for data prep, really. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and I hope it was all clear, and thanks for watching.